In 1948, a 2,500-year-old prophecy came true, and the world barely noticed. The rebirth of Israel is the super sign of the end times, and it proves the prophetic clock is ticking. For centuries, students of biblical prophecy have scanned the horizon for signs of the end times. They have looked for wars, for famines, for earthquakes, but all of these signs are, in a sense, general. There have always been wars and rumors of wars, but there is one sign, one singular, unprecedented event in human history that stands apart from all the others. It is a public, political, and geographical miracle that serves as the super sign of the last days. It is the modern-day rebirth of the nation of Israel. To understand the monumental significance of this event, we must go back to the pages of the Old Testament. God made an unconditional and eternal covenant with Abraham, promising him three things: a great posterity, a personal blessing, and a specific land. The promise of the land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, was passed down through Isaac and Jacob and became the inheritance of the nation of Israel. However, the prophets also issued stark warnings. They foretold that if the people of Israel turned away from God and pursued idolatry, they would be disciplined. They would be violently uprooted from their land and scattered among all the nations of the earth. Moses, in the book of Deuteronomy, prophesied this with chilling accuracy. "And the Lord will scatter you among all peoples, from one end of the earth to the other." This prophecy was fulfilled with brutal precision. In 722 BC, the northern kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Assyrians, and its people were deported. In 586 BC, the southern kingdom of Judah was conquered by the Babylonians, Jerusalem and its temple were destroyed, and the Jewish people were driven into exile. Although a remnant returned to rebuild the temple, the nation was never fully sovereign again, living under the successive rule of Persia, Greece, and Rome. Then, in 70 AD, after a failed Jewish revolt, the Roman general Titus sacked Jerusalem, utterly destroyed the Second Temple, and scattered the Jewish people to the four corners of the globe. For the next 1,900 years, they were a people without a homeland, a nation without a geography, just as the prophets had foretold. But the prophecies did not end there. In the very same passages where the prophets predicted Israel's scattering, they also predicted its miraculous regathering in the last days. The prophet Ezekiel was given a powerful vision in chapter 37, the Valley of the Dry Bones. He saw a valley full of dry, disconnected human bones. The Lord asked him, "Son of man, can these bones live?" The bones represented the whole house of Israel, dead and scattered as a nation. Then God commanded Ezekiel to prophesy, and a rattling sound was heard as the bones came together. Sinews and flesh appeared on them, and skin covered them. Then God breathed into them, and they came to life, a vast army. God then explained the vision. "I will take the Israelites out of the nations where they have gone. I will gather them from all around and bring them back into their own land." The prophet Isaiah also spoke of this future regathering, stating in chapter 11, "In that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the surviving remnant of his people. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel." For nearly 2 millennia, these prophecies seemed impossible, a forgotten dream. The Jewish people were dispersed across the globe, speaking different languages, living in different cultures. The land itself was a desolate wasteland under the control of the Ottoman Empire. The idea that this scattered people could reform as a nation and return to their ancient, barren homeland seemed like a complete fantasy. But then, in the late 19th century, something began to stir. The Zionist movement was born, a political movement with the explicit goal of re-establishing a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Small waves of Jewish immigrants began to return, buying up barren land and making the desert bloom, just as Isaiah had prophesied. After the horrors of the Holocaust during World War II, the world was finally sympathetic to the Jewish plight. On May 14, 1948, against all odds, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. A nation that had been dead for 1,900 years was reborn in a single day. This event is the super sign of the end times because so many other key prophecies are contingent upon it. The prophetic clock, which had been paused for centuries, began to tick again in 1948. For the end times scenario described in the Bible to unfold, Israel must exist as a sovereign nation in its own land, with Jerusalem as its capital. Consider the prophecies about the tribulation period. The prophet Daniel states that the tribulation begins when the Antichrist makes a 7-year covenant with Israel. This would be impossible if Israel did not exist as a political entity with which to make a treaty. The Bible also speaks of the rebuilding of a third temple in Jerusalem, which the Antichrist will desecrate in the abomination of desolation. This cannot happen unless Israel controls Jerusalem and has the desire to rebuild its temple, a desire that grows stronger every year. Furthermore, the great end times wars described by the prophets all center on the nation of Israel. The war of Gog and Magog, described by Ezekiel, is a massive invasion of the land of Israel. The final battle of Armageddon is a campaign of all the world's armies gathering together to destroy Israel. None of these prophecies could be fulfilled if Israel had remained scattered among the nations. The rebirth of Israel in 1948 put all the necessary pieces on the board for the end times drama to play out. It is the undeniable, historical fulfillment of a prophecy that skeptics for centuries had deemed impossible. It is God's public declaration to the world that He is faithful to His covenants and that His prophetic timetable is moving forward. Jesus Himself gave a parable in the Olivet Discourse, the parable of the fig tree. He said, "Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door." The fig tree is a classic biblical symbol for the nation of Israel. When you see the fig tree putting forth its leaves, when you see the nation of Israel come back to life, you know that the summer, the time of the harvest, the end of the age is near. The generation that witnessed the rebirth of Israel is the first generation in history to see the prophetic stage fully set. The existence of the nation of Israel today is not a political accident. It is a miracle of divine providence and the single greatest sign that we are living in the last days. It is the anchor point for all other signs, the foundation upon which the final events of history will be built. If you wish to understand the profound connection between ancient promises and modern headlines, subscribe for more analysis of God's prophetic word.